I think, yeah, it started. So yeah. Guys, so thanks for all of you to join in the session here, guys. And let's have like my name is Saomya Chaudhary, as Pawan sir has already introduced you guys. So I will be taking care of your project for project number 3, to be specific, for which you guys are all part of, right? In the context here, right? So like a personal fitness tracker project. So we are going to have a look at the context about the same, okay, and also understand what's so like how we can go about implementing the AI on the same as well, okay. And just to give a background about myself, like my name, like I've already told you, like my name is Saumya Chaudhary, and I'm a master trainer here at EduNet. And I'll be going forward to guiding you further on the same, okay. And without further delay, guys, let's go ahead and have this interesting session going on. So guys, let me quickly go forth and share my screen as well. Just give me a moment. Uh, Probably doing that. So let's open this up and let me share a specific portion of the screen here. And right, should be good to go. I think the screen is visible to all of us. Hopefully, we can move forward with the context, which, yeah, perfect. I think the network is a little bit slow, I believe. I'm not able to see your, I mean, hear your voice properly. So hopefully that's the case. Anyways, guys, I think all of us are there on the line, and let's move forward with the concepts which we need to discuss about today. So, guys, let me turn on the presenter view here, and let's start off with the context which we want to go forth and look into. Let me click on this maybe, and all right. So, guys, so welcome again to all of the context which we are discussing about here, guys. Okay, and hopefully we all appreciate the fact which we all I hope we all know that we are gathered here for this project number 3, which is part of this AI internship. With AICTE, right? So if I talk about, right, and talks about implementation of the personal fitness tracker using Python, right? So by the way, guys, it's one of the 3 projects which have been chosen for, and since you all guys are here, assuming that all of you have been have chosen this particular project, right? So you can go we can go ahead and have a little bit discussion on the same and talk about it, how to go about introducing and stuff, right? So by the way, guys, before I begin, right, I always tell some a key, I mean, if I talk about the key important features, right, I hope guys, whatever I'm scribbling here, right, you can see an arrow mark, I believe. It should be visible to all of you, okay? So guys, see, there are few requirements, like key requirements of this particular session, right? So number one thing, guys, there are a few things which you need to prepare. One is obviously the PPT. Okay, you have to prepare the what do you say, documentation, right? If documentation, right? I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone, guys. Okay, so a PPT needs to be prepared. You have 4 weeks of time, guys, right? So I hope everyone is aware of the timeline, right? So the 4 weeks of time, in these 4 weeks, we are going to have an elaborate discussion on the project and stuff, right? And by the way, I mean, we are going to also talk about a little bit of a demonstration here. Okay, so demonstration of live demonstration. I'll talk about that of the particular, uh, what do you say, project which we are talking about here, like the personal fitness tracker, right? We'll have a demonstration on the same as well, guys. Okay, and like as I said, guys, right? Your, like, if I talk about what your submission would be, right? So number one, you have to submit your PPT, right? You have to create a PPT on the same project, right? And then complete your documentation. Okay, with execution, if you talk about, right, the third key requirement is obviously you want to go ahead and, what do you say, deployment, in the context that, like, that's local host is particularly fine. Locally you can go ahead and deploy that as a application and stuff, because in this context, guys, in your internship, right, you have a section in the PPT, you have a section called video. Okay, so in the video section you are going to put up the execution or deployment stuff. I mean, whatever you have created, right? You are going to create a small video out of it. Okay, so I hope all of these things are pretty much clear. And guys, a few things which are pretty much important, right? So pay attention in the classes, guys. Okay, so in fact, it's not a class. So in the guided session, okay, if I talk about, right, do pay attention in this. Okay, make your attendance, mark your attendance correctly. Okay, so that's particularly one of the stuff as well. Okay, so and be consistent, right? In your content. Okay, so things will automatically be on point. Okay, so but as I said, guys, you have enough time to research on the topics as well. Okay, because you have specifically chosen a particular topic, right? In this context, you're talking about the personal fitness tracker, right? So you can yeah, guys, and also do join up the ask me anything session, right? So where you have you will all have the opportunity to discuss your questions. I mean, most of the question answer discussions and everything, guys, happens in the ask me anything session. Okay, so but obviously while we are on the call, because obviously there is a huge crowd which we talk about, like in like I have around 789 currently participants, number of participants here, right? So so more than that and stuff, right? Addressing all the questions might not be physically possible. Okay, so that's why we have specific sections like the ask me anything sessions, where you where we completely deal with questions and everything. Okay, be it from your technical stand of points, or maybe your uh, um, LMS relating doubts, right? So Pavan sir, who was there a few minutes ago, right? He's going to associate your doubts where, sort all your doubts relating to your LMS relating stuff and everything, guys. Okay, and I'll be there for your technical guidance and stuff. Okay, so guys, make use of these sessions. Okay, feel free to ask. But as I said, guys, the final submissions are a PPT, a documentation, you have the deployment video. Okay, all of these things are pretty much important when it comes to, and the final criteria to achieve this final certificate is nothing but your attendance as well. Okay, so Make sure to attend on time, guys. Leave on time, that's fine enough, right? But make sure to be consistent enough. Okay. So, with that motivation, guys, let's talk about few things which I wanted to talk about in the concept pillar. Okay. So, guys, like as we can all see here, right? It's more or less. I hope it's understandable. Now everyone here of us. I mean, here, if you talk about, right, all of us mostly are very much. What do you say? Are many of us are like a fitness freak, if you talk about, right, nowadays. People, all human beings, if you talk about, right, they want to have adopt a healthy lifestyle, and for that they have like they keep themselves busy with exercises and stuff, right? And on an everyday basis, obviously a person wants to know, guys, the idea here is, right, that to give using AI and ML to help monitor these fitness activities, if I talk about, right? So and to measure how progressive you are getting over time, right? And personal, if to keep you healthy, right, if you talk about, right? So I hope we can understand, guys, right? So this particular implementation plays a very important role in all sorts of things, right, if I talk about, right? So progress measurement, right? You want to talk about activity tracking, right? So all of these things and quick tips, guidance and stuff, right? All of those things can be monitored. Imagine having that kind of a all-in-one solution app which can help you with the things here, right? So definitely, no, who would not like to have that, right? So I hope we can understand and get the clarity on the same, right? So it depends on also the context, that like what are the kind of feedbacks you are giving, right? So I hope all of us understand, like, because nowadays, thanks to the sensors, right, we are generating a lot of data on a regular basis, right, if you talk about, right? So I hope we all understand and appreciate this fact, right, that since we are talking about, like, nowadays, like, we have a lot of different programming tools, right, to sort out these kind of small problems, right? Why not use like one of the most fundamentally used languages of all time, Python, to help create something interesting, right? So I hope we can understand the concept here, right? And I think more or less everyone likes to have talk about fitness and relevant aspects, right? So why not track it for ourselves, and what you say, use it for a better healthy living standard, right? So hopefully, guys, with that small motivation, we can go about talking about the stuff here, right now, guys. Obviously, guys, see, I should mention one thing here, guys. Okay, your project should, in fact, when you create your PPTs and everything, guys, okay, it should contain all of these things very clearly. Okay, so a problem statement, right? I hope everyone understands what a problem statement technically talks about, right? So the kind of, let's say, like, you may talk about the, like, people face issues, like, for example, one of the things which we just discussed about, right, tracking issues, right? So maybe like, if you look into it, right? So people face tracking issues of their individual exercise, right? Right, whatever they have done on a daily basis, right? They want to have a report, right? Generating report is tedious, right? If you say generating reports, right, is a very tedious job, right? If I talk about manual tracking is like not suggested, right? No manual tracking, right, if I talk about, right? Because obviously to some extent it's okay. You have initially you have started your exercise and you are very much motivated, but after some gradual amount of time you might not want to go ahead and track it, and that's the problem here, right? So if you don't track your activities, like maybe your food habits, right, all of these things, right, on an extensive basis, obviously there is nothing in this project which talks about the food habits, but yeah, as a future scope you can have something like maybe you want to go ahead and track your food habits, the sleep cycle, right, whatever you talk about, right? So a lot of different things which you can track up in your you would definitely would like to track, so that you can we all can adapt a healthy lifestyle, right, if you talk about, right? So then that's what so identification of the problem is nothing but the problem statement, right, if you talk about, right? So identify and analyze what the problem talks about and stuff. Okay, then moving forward, if I talk about proposed solution, right, in the context that we have in the talk, what we were discussing on, right, the solution, how you and how did you go up creating it, right? Like for example, one of the solutions, like obviously according to the scope of our project, Python, right? Because it's a very widely accepted language for data analysis and what do you say, solution deployment and tracking, a lot of different things, right? So proposed solution is through the Python, and within Python basically you are probably taking the ML based approach to sort out the problem, because obviously if you are like collecting data regularly, you would be able to easily monitor your habits, correct? So so that's what we talk about in terms of having a solution, right? So software requirement. So guys, everything should be well written. Okay, I'm just discussing the concepts. It should be well written in terms of your PPTs, the document and everything, right? So software requirement, if I talk about, right? So again, software requirement, we can talk about the tech stack, right? It is also called as like STACK. Okay, so technology stack which you are using maybe is Python, right, if you talk about, right? And maybe models. So since we are talking about ML, right, so within ML we'll probably talk about few of the models, like few of the libraries like sklearn, right? So we are going to talk about that, and maybe for deployment you might use Streamlit, right? So it is, it's a very lightweight, this guy here, right, is a very lightweight cloud, a web application, right, which you can easily, or a web package which you can easily use to go ahead and deploy a machine learning model very quickly. Okay, so then I hope you can understand the context here, right? So sklearn, within sklearn you will talk about maybe some different kinds of algorithms, right? So we will talk about those a bit. Okay, and that becomes your system software requirement, or I hope you can understand the context here, right? Then in the context we have the system architecture, right? System architecture deals with the complete process. Okay, so from like process as in the process of, let's say, first you collect the data, right? So then obviously you want to go ahead and maybe pre-process it, right? The data, right? I hope pre-processing, like you can talk about that, right? Maybe EDA, right? That is also, by the way, guys, known as exploratory data analysis, right? Uh, So I hope all of these things are particularly understandable, right? I hope of every gradual process, which we are going to look into the entire project. That's what we are going to talk about, right? So anyways, guys, so model, maybe then you would like to go ahead and model create, right? Or creation, right? So there are predefined libraries. We are not going to obviously create from scratch and everything. We are going to use the libraries which are going to help us to do that, right? So we obviously then selection. You want to go ahead and select. right? All of these things, guys, a very general rule, if I talk about, right? That's particularly part of everything which you see, right? Nowadays, right? If you talk about, right? And maybe, what do you say? Model deployment, right? So, I hope you can understand, like, and deploying in the web, if I talk about, right? So you can talk about that, right? So overall steps which you take in the entire project, you define it in system architecture, right? Then you have the video of the project where you show a video demonstration of the entire web application, right? So whatever you have created, right? So you're going to have a demonstration and you are going to put it in your PPT. It will be probably at least, what do you say, more than 30 seconds, right? Video you have to record starting from the phase to the end of it, right? So just keep it that way, guys. Okay, then obviously, guys, we have if anything, like in the context of a future scope, right? What can be expected from your project, and obviously at the end, you can have, like, for example, in your future scope, you maybe want to integrating it with some of the LLMs or something in those lines, so that you can easily go about doing the analysis, right? Or maybe a chatbot development and stuff, like, which you can inbuilt create for quicker access and everything, right? Then conclusion, obviously, guys, whatever you have found out, right? Maybe you found out that your maybe one of the, let's say, some kind of a model is working better, right? One particular regression model is working better than the other. You talk about that in the conclusion and everything, right? And under the conclusion also, you mentioned about the web application which you have created and everything, right? So all of those things finally to give a I mean, sign off kind of a situation, right? So hopefully, guys, it's understandable by everyone, guys. Okay, and maybe let me go ahead and talk about, go to the next slide to talk about it, right? So guys, each of the section which you have seen already, right? So you have the problem statement, right? We find, right? So guys, here you have to clearly define, okay? Lack of accessible tools, you can see, right? Some examples are here, right? So why do you want to do this particular project, right? So what did you feel that is different? I mean, what you want to go ahead and for which you want to provide a solution, right? So a generic manner, if you talk about individual user preferences, fitness level, health condition, depending on each and every aspect, right? You talk about in the context here, right? So disconnect between the user health journeys and lower motivation. So I think you can understand all of these things may lead to, so some people do not feel motivated towards doing the exercise if they do not have anything which will give you some kind of a motivation to see that, okay, now I'm doing the what do you say, exercise. Let me if there is no thing to talk about, then obviously, guys, that is a bit of a problem if I talk about, right? So that's I hope it's understandable, right? And obviously, guys, as I was talking about, right, each body type is different, everyone follows a different approach, right? So if you commonize the things, right, make it common, right, things might not work out because every body type needs different suggestions. Okay, so so the whole idea is to personalize based on the stuff which you have taken, right? So so you identify those gaps and you talk about it, right? So proposed solution, we have already talked about, right? Like, you want to go ahead and create it using, what do you say, Python, and maybe you're going to use a few of the popular libraries like NumPy for bigger arrays or numbers, which you are going to look into the data here, right? And then you have pandas for looking into the data frames, or working with tabular data, right? If you talk about, right, then you have matplotlib for plotting and looking into how it works out, right? So all of these things together is going to enhance the person I mean, whatever we are talking about in terms of the personal goals, if you talk about, right? So powered by Python, and machine learning, right? I hope nowadays, like, it's a knack, right? So ML being used in all different domains which you can think of, that's become a standard, right? Now, guys, obviously the software requirement you have, like, let's say if you talk about in terms of a front end deployment or a back end deployment, I hope you can understand, guys, right? So under the back end you have this Python symbol here, so back end you are going to use this, and for front end, since you will be deploying using Streamlit, right? So that becomes your front end, right? So different kinds of models which we are looking into, you can also mention that here, right? So SVM, support vector machines, right? Logistic regression, random forest, right? So these are the few ones which are pretty much, what do you say, used for, like, you can use for looking into the context here. Okay, so hopefully it's clear for everyone. And then, guys, you have the straightforward frameworks like the scikit-learn, which is the machine learning framework if you talk about, right? And talking about that, right? Because it, this particular library scikit-learn has support of wide variety of models, guys, inclusive of SVM, logistic regression, random forest, and everything, right? So it's very easy to deploy and stuff, guys, I mean, work around with it, right? Then for deployment you are going to use the Streamlit cloud. We'll see a sample of it, guys. Okay, don't worry about it. A system architecture looks like this, guys. Okay, so maybe calories data, exercise data, we are going to load these two data files, guys, right? We're going to see based on the data which is like based on the demonstration which I'm going to give you, our system architecture looks like this, right? It could be a little bit different for you guys, right? You might be following up from a different data source, right? So hopefully we can understand, right? So there are few of the popular data sources which you can use to gather data, right? So something called as Kaggle, right? Some of us might have heard about, right? Google, what do you say, data sets, right? We have that, right? You can collect data from there. UCI, machine learning repository, right? We have this. Okay, so hopefully that's particularly understandable. A lot of different repositories are there, guys, right? Data portal of what do you say, um, Chicago. Chicago is a, what do you say, a city in United States, guys. So US. So this particular portal, if you talk about, right, it has up to date data, guys. So if you look into, right, you can visit there and find the different data sources from there as well. So there are different wide variety of sources from where you can find. India's own data portal is data .gov.in. You can go to this particular website to find data from, especially relating to India's data. So wide variety of places from where you can download the data sets. Okay, so hopefully we can understand, guys. So uh, let me use this. Okay, I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. Okay. uh, okay, just a second, guys. Okay, yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's what I just wanted to talk about, guys. And you have the feature engineering. You do feature engineering to find the relevant features. Okay. And maybe out of the, guys, like, out of all the models, like, after when you see my, I mean, when you see the project demonstration, which I'm going to do for you, right? We have chosen their random forest regressor. It might be different for you guys, right? So maybe some other model is performing better, you choose that, right? So in this case we are using random forest regressor. Then maybe the I mean, training of the model, right? You do the training of the model, right? And then the evaluation of the model, right? So because training, and then there should be the process of evaluation, because that's what it talks about, right? Like using some of the popular metrics, if I talk about, like, maybe accuracy, right? Like precision, right? And maybe if I talk about recall, right? So all of these pretty much parameters, right? If you talk about, right? So sensitivity and recall and stuff, right? So all of these things are measures which are pretty much used for evaluating whether you have like made the model in the proper manner or not, right? So hopefully it's particularly understandable, guys, right? And then obviously you have the streamlit deployment, right? So if you talk about, right, so you have and by the way, user input features, meaning the user and input set and stuff, right? If you talk about, right, and then obviously there's the deployment of the case here, right? So hopefully we can understand the context here, guys, and makes sense to all of us. Okay, then moving forward, guys, I have the future scope. If I talk about, right, under the future scope we have these, you can see, right, so you can do deeper analysis on health metric, right? So mental health metric, like you can monitor the heart rate variability, sleep patterns, and make it more efficient, right? So all of these things will improvise the things, right? Time series analysis or clustering, right? So those are pretty much most of the things which we are talking about in the context here, right? So hopefully it's clear for everyone, right? So then obviously you want to go ahead and users to allow their free fitness achievements, right? Maybe to a community, right? So all of these things, so that the person, all of these small perks help you to stay motivated and keep you on track, right? So all of these things pretty much helps, right? So real-time tracking capabilities, multiple wearable devices from smartphones, fitness band, heart rate monitors, and everything, right? So if you talk about different things, right, so adaptive fitness plans and stuff, right, I hope you can understand the concept here, guys. Okay, so hopefully it's clear for all of us, right? And then obviously, guys, a final concluding remark for everything, right? So I hope you can understand the context here, right? It talks about like whatever, like you have seen different kind of models, and from there you like you generated your feedback, right, or progress, right? If you talk about, right, then whatever you have done, right, maybe you have achieved maybe what do you say, a good accuracy, so you talk about that as well, right? So and at the end, like you also highlight the key point that you have used Streamlit to, what do you say, upload your entire thing, right? I hope or deploy your entire thing, right? So I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. All right, so guys, whatever you saw in the PPT, this is how you create your entire PPT as well, guys. Okay, use your own concepts, your own way of representing the things. You can take reference from here. Okay, so hopefully we all understand the concept here, guys. Okay, this is how it works out. Okay, so now let me quickly stop the share from here, and let's have a look. Yeah, all the PPTs document as in it will be shared, guys. Okay. Mm. No, it's not a waterfall, iterative waterfall model, because these are software development models which you are talking about. It is machine learning model. Okay, machine learning model is, I mean, which are a model is like a algorithm which you use to in the context of machine learning, guys. Okay, it's an algorithm which you technically use for sorting out the problem. Okay, so I hope it's particularly understandable. Um, So anyways, guys, let's, I mean, you have to get a background on Python, okay, to be very frank, okay. But if you are consistent enough, 4 weeks is enough to even create the entire project, okay. So you have to put efforts, okay, but it is possible to do the things, okay. Can I use synthetic data? Yeah, yes, yes, definitely. You can use any kind of data to talk about, but rather, try, do not keep it totally dummy, by the way, right? You can have a mixture of the things, okay? So that you can understand the concepts here, okay? So required skills only Python from basics to advanced. Basics, not highly advanced, but along with Python, you need to have the knowledge of machine learning as well. Okay, so to do this, anyways, guys. So let's move forward. Okay, and let me quickly share the screen and talk about that. Right. So. All right, guys. The next thing which I actually wanted to go ahead and talk about, right? Let me quickly share the screen so that I can show it to you, maybe. Okay. Let's come on. Yeah. I'll share the complete screen. That'll be easy for me to talk about. Okay, perfect. So, guys, let's have a look. Okay, as to there is one more thing which I want to go ahead and talk about before I move towards the execution part of the things. Okay, let's talk about that capstone. Let me show you how the report should be made, by the way, guys. Okay, I'll just quickly zap through the report. Okay, so guys, this is how your report should look like. Okay, so make sure to put the project title, name, and everything, right? That's your fitness tracker, right? For the track name, if you don't, guys, you don't have the track name. It's like what do you say? The internship track, right? So phase four internship track. So on the particular February track. So to talk about that, right? And by the way, there are multiple number of names listed. It's not a group project, so you are going to do it individually. So you basically remove these things, right? And talk about mention the things in the context here, right? I'll be your guide for the project, so you can mention my name, right? So there, and you have the acknowledgement here and stuff, right? Make sure to write your own acknowledgement, guys. Okay, so written by the students in your own language. There is a sample here, okay, but do not copy and paste, guys. Okay, use your own set of things, right? Then write an abstract, right? When you talk about an abstract, guys, right, it's like a small summary of the project, right? So what is it about? What did you think? I mean, why did you choose it? A little bit about the problem statement. What was the problem because of which you chose this project? A little bit of the objective. That means like your objective is to like create a full-fledged tracker using Python and machine learning, so as to like talk about the entire project, right? And also your partially the other objective which you have is to deploy it, right? So that other users can also use your stuff and get a better idea about how to track them, right? Then you have the key methodologies which you have taken a little bit, maybe a one or two liners, because guys, the abstract should not exceed 300 words. It should be less than 300 words. Okay, so key results and the conclusion, maybe, right, a little bit. Okay, so one liner each for each, and by that time you'll be filled up with 300 words as well. So don't keep it very big, so a small one, right? So this is the table of contents you talk about, where you find have, right? Make sure to add that up and stuff, right? So let's go to each and every section here, by the way, right? So you have the figures, right? If you talk about, right, mention clearly, guys, what is the figure about, right? Let's say if the figure is about the system architecture, right, mention it system architecture of your fitness tracker project, and then page number, mention that, right? If the figure is about ML based, what you say, algorithm which you want to go ahead and explain, mention that along with the page number, right? All of those things, please do that. Okay, then you have the list of tables in case there are any tables which you are putting in your what do you say project. You talk about that. Okay, So hopefully it's particularly clear for everyone. And then guys, moving forward, right, in your chapter 1 you have the details of your problem statement, right? You here you describe your entire project statement, right? So earlier you just wrote a single line, maybe just to talk about. Here you give a complete description about your project, right? Why did you go about choosing it? What problem did you like? What did you think? Like, just like how we discussed about, right, that people face challenges to get motivated to do the exercises and stuff, right? Nothing for trackability, right? So if you talk about, right, and if there are even tracking devices and stuff, they are pretty complicated to use. You can talk about that and stuff. Motivation, you can basically talk about how maybe if you have any kind of a real-time story, right? Maybe you can even talk about like if you saw your friend unable to do the tracking and stuff, or your brother, your sister, maybe anyone and stuff, or yourself, right? You thought of mitigating that problem with the with that motivation. You can mention that. If you want to be personalized, you can always do that. That is more impactful, guys. Okay, so if you have something related to your entire thing, right? And then obviously you talk about the objectives. Clearly state the objectives, right? Point right in pointer manner, guys, right? So objective number 1, perform EDA analysis on the data collected, right? So maybe objective number 2, right, like take various machine learning algorithms and compare each one of them. Objective number 3, maybe deploy the project, right? So I hope you can understand, guys. So those will be your objectives, kind of. I'm just giving you a sample of objectives which you can think of, right? So that becomes your objective, right? So then scope of your project, like define the scope and the limitations. When you talk about like how to whom is this project for, like who can use these kind of projects, right? You talk about that, right? So obviously limitations, if I talk about like the project is maybe not if you talk about in the context that it might not be suitable for some age group, right? You talk about that, right, and stuff, right? But that's what you mentioned in the limitations versus the scope. Or maybe some people who are diseased and stuff, who are not who are asked not to do intense exercise and stuff. So that would be the kind of the limitation which you can talk about, right? So just make sure to mention those, right? Then you have chapter 2. Under that you have literature survey, right? Literature survey is anything, guys, when you when you write something, or when you do some project, right? Before you do the project, you collect literature from different online sources. Like for example, right, let me just give you an example. Like for example, suppose you just wanted to talk about, let's say maybe I say, what is machine, what is machine learning, right? Suppose you want to write a small paragraph about what is machine learning in your project, because obviously you are going to use machine learning in your project, right? So in that you are going to mention all the terms which you are going to use. Maybe you'll describe about Python, then why Python, why machine learning, what is machine learning, and what are the different learning algorithms which are part of machine learning. If you talk about, right, what is supervised learning, what is this, that, and stuff, right? You want to go ahead and have a little bit of an elaborate understanding, right? So you write, so you read through. Suppose you went to this website and you found out that, okay, I can use this definition in my project, right? Then what you can do is, guys, it's not advisable to copy and paste it, right? Make sure to just understand the concept, and maybe write it in your own language in your section here, right? Review relevant literatures of what do you say, previous work in this domain, right? So you just talk about those things, right, in your own words. Okay. And guys, when you write literature, right, simultaneously also go to one section below, one of these sections which is below, called as references, right? So when I talk about these references, right, you can put this, so you can copy this link, okay, and maybe put that in the form of your references, okay? Like about machine learning. You have put it in the what do you say, where did you find it, right? So I hope you can understand, guys, that's how you put references, right? That's what you do. Okay, so I hope you can understand the concept here, guys. Okay, so that's what literature survey is, writing it in your own words. So literature survey is simply this process of visiting an online source, maybe a paper, maybe a book, maybe a online source or anything, right? A genuine online source, or maybe an article somewhere you found it, right? Copying, I mean, sorry, not copying, basically understanding the concept there and writing it in your literature survey, right? Writing it in your own words. Okay, so I hope you can understand the concept there. Okay, so after you write it in your own words, right, after you finish that sentence, you put up a full stop, right? You put the number there, like maybe you say number 2, right? And you describe that number 2 below, like describe as in you put a reference here in the number 2, right? So that's how you what do you say, talk about in terms of all of these things. Okay, so hopefully, guys, it's understandable by everyone, and we are able to get to what we are talking about here, right? That is literature survey, right? Then next thing to talk about is mention any of the existing models. Yes, you should do that, guys. Okay, so any of the existing models which are already part of it, right? If we talk about, so do a review on that as well. Okay, highlight the gaps on or limitations in existing solution and how your project will address them. That is also pretty important. I hope it's clear, guys. I mean, it's not what do you say, very difficult to talk about, right? But however, it is you can do look into the context there, right? Now, next, talking about, guys, proposed methodology, right? Proposed methodology simply means what are the methods you have taken, right? So obviously you created the system, right? You can put that image, right, which I showed you, right? You can put whatever system design you are going to create for your own project, put that and talk about it. Okay, modules used, what are the different modules you have used, right? You list out those, right? Like for example, pandas for data frame, scikit-learn for models, right? Matplotlib for plotting. Maybe you might have used plotly for interactive plots. We're going to see that, guys. Okay, so and have a look at it, right? So you can talk about those as well. Okay, so the requirement specification, hardware specifications, software requirements. I mean, not particularly part of the current project which you are doing with, guys, but you can in a way mention that as well if you want to go ahead and do that, right? Implementation and results is the final key stuff which you talk about. But whatever results you get, you can do a comparative analysis of all the different models. Model 1 accuracy this much, model 2 accuracy that much, right? So different kinds of models talking about different aspects, right? So you can have something like what you say, you create a box of it, right? Or a table, right? So model and the accuracy, right? If you talk about, right? So maybe linear regression, I mean, what do you say? I mean, if I talk about, let's say, SVM, whatever accuracy you got, right? So if you talk about, right? So random forest, you get this, right? And you can do a comparative analysis on the same, right? Maybe what do you say? Decision trees, whatever you have gotten, right? So depends on the different kinds of models which you are going to use for your analysis as well. Okay, so hopefully, guys, it's understandable. But anyways, guys, we're going to talk about little bit, discuss about these things as we go up in our analysis and stuff. Okay, now moving forward, guys, in your discussion and conclusion, right, you mentioned here what are the key findings or the best things which you saw in the project, right? So you are going to do EDA analysis, right? So these key findings is what is called as data storytelling, guys. Okay, so you talk about the story behind I mean, whatever you've observed. Okay, you talk about that, right? You can mention it here, basically, right? You talk about the GitHub link, right? You can post or share the GitHub link here, right? So after you post your code or push your code in GitHub, okay, that would be a very good added advantage, guys, because it will help recruiters find you. Okay, based on your credentials. Okay, so video recording of the project demonstration, that's again I told you already about that, right? PPT may you have to put that. And then if there are any limitations, you talk about that, maybe future work or conclusion, right? So depends on the project scope. Okay, guys. So you may or may not have it, but overall, this is the structure, guys, right? And then make sure to put references, guys. It is very, very, very important to have references. Okay. And guys, at the end, there is a special section called appendix. Okay. So under appendix, you can include any of the other additional material. If you want to paste your code, you can do that, right? If you want to what do you say, if you have created any figures, extended stuff and all of those things, you can add that up here as well. Okay, so all of those additional related things to your project can be part of it. Okay, and you can see that it says if applicable, meaning if you want to go ahead and put that, right, you can put it, but it's okay if you don't even put that. Okay, so all of these things, this was the overall idea about how the documentation should be prepared, guys. Okay, it's very important to adhere to the rule set. Okay, and let me go ahead and cross it up. Hopefully, guys, it's understandable by everyone, nothing pretty much tough to talk about, right? All right, so now let's look into a few more things here, guys. Okay, so yeah, let me quickly, guys. So let's quickly start off with the little bit of an execution of how the things work out. Okay, so by the way, guys, yeah, you, some of us might be wondering about how can they create flow charts. You saw in system design how to go ahead and create them, right? So it's very, there is a tool. I'm not sure whether you guys have heard about it, right? There are tools. There is a tool called draw.io. Okay, so it's a web app, if you talk about, right, where which enables you to go ahead and create these kind of small what do you say, um, uh, things, or I mean, you can go about creating your own flow chart, right? So it's pretty very easy, guys. You are welcome to this particular screen. All you have to do is to choose, right? On the left hand side, guys, you can see all, right, that we have a cylinder here. I can take this cylinder, and the best thing about this tool is everything is editable. Like, you have created this. Now I double click, you can see that there is a what do you say, you will be able to write something inside that, like for example, in the context of data set of exercises, right? So I hope you can understand, guys, right? So I can talk about it, right? For example, right? So, and guys, if you look into it carefully, guys, on the right hand side, just you hover over it, right? You can see that there is a what do you say, automatically the moment you hover over it, it gets into blue color, right? So I can click on, not click on it, just hover there and go to whatever I need next. Maybe if I want a what do you say, a square, right, or a rectangle, I put that, right, and inside that maybe I'll say pre-processing, or say data pre-process, right? Maybe from here, right, I might want to go to, let's say, EDA, right, or exploratory data analysis, right? From there, I can, I can change my directions and stuff. Just hover over there and click on the same, right? If I talk about, right? So next step, maybe something in the lines of, let's say, model building, right? And stuff. I hope you can understand, guys. You can create your own things, right? And you can make it fancy as well. Like, if you select it, right, I can the style option on the right hand side also gets enabled, guys. You can have different kinds of colors to specific things or something those lines, whatever you like. And it's pretty easy. And these things also are possible and stuff. You can do a lot of different kinds of modifications, guys. Okay, now that, suppose you have created the entire flowchart, right? The next thing which you can pretty much very easily do is, you see this file option on the left hand side. Okay, click on it and you can say there is the option called export as. Okay, and when I click on export as, there are others here as well. Okay, I can go about exporting it as PNG, JPG and stuff, right? I can do that, guys. Okay, so I can click on PNG maybe, right? I have these and stuff, right? And maybe I want to go ahead and export it, right? I click on it, and where do you want to save it? In the device. If you do that, it's going to help you save it, right? So let me click on save and just go there. I just saved it in a particular location here, right? If I let it open here, you can see, guys, it's very easy to save it. I double click here and I can open my uh, draw.io stuff. Got it, guys? So now this is an image. You can very easily use this image for creating the stuff. Okay, so hopefully it's understandable by everyone, guys. Nothing very serious to talk about, right? It's very easy to create the stuff, what I meant to say. Okay, so that's this. The app name is draw.io, or the technical name, the moment you do that login, right, it gives its actual domain, apps.diagrams.net. You can also use this as a matter of fact, right? So, or you can call it as draw.io, right? So whatever you do, that works out pretty straightforward enough, right? So guys, I think this particular demonstration is particularly clear for everyone. Okay, now guys, let me move forward and talk about a little bit on the code side of the things. Let me show you, okay, how the like if you did it correctly, right? Maybe let's have a look at how the app actually looks like, right? Maybe what you can expect if you have done everything correctly, right? So I'm just going to show you the output for now, right? And then we'll take the motivation about how to create it, right? Where was it? The folder AICT. Yeah, I have it here. Okay, now if I talk about project 3 and I go here, okay, so I have the app.py and stuff. Okay, I'll tell you about those things, guys. Do not worry about it, right? As of now, let me go ahead and just uh, run it. So let's say run app.py. Okay, I think it's not in this. Maybe I'll go ahead and use my own. So for that, I'll probably go back. I'll go back again. I'll use, guys, don't worry about the codes. I'll discuss about it. Don't worry about them. In this folder, what do I have here? Just environments. Okay, the folder is environments. I'll go project 3 scripts activate. And let me just run. Oh, sorry. If I talk about one. Okay, I'm not at the correct location. Maybe I'll change it to project 3. And now I think inside this, I am here, I believe. Yeah, so Streamlit, where was that? Okay. All right, guys, just a quick moment, guys. Let's have a look. So if you have done everything correctly, guys, then your website will load with this particular stuff. Okay. It's still loading, takes a bit of a time. Okay. So kindly, you should be patient enough. Okay. But let's have a look. In the meantime, while it runs, let me see if there are any questions that I can take quickly. Can you get the recording of the session? Yes, you will. Okay, don't worry about it, right? Code for it? Yes. There is the, you have to write. See, guys, this is an internship. Okay, I should say one thing that you should write in your own code. There are 4 weeks of time. Okay, but obviously code and everything will be part of your, what do you say, it's already there in your, it will be part of your LMS as well, the code and everything. Okay, but as I said, you can take ideas from there but make enhancements. Okay, so all right, problem statement, or can you give us the problem statement? Uday, we have already discussed about what problem statement is, and there are sample problem statements there, right? The idea here is you can take the problem statement which is available, but you can, it is always advisable to have your own problem statement, okay? Because you are doing an internship, and as I said, it is a 4 weeks program, right? So it's pretty big amount of time if you have the zeal to do that. Okay, so I hope you can understand the concept here. So yeah, yes, definitely you can do your project on your Jupyter notebook, and mm, okay, I think these are the few questions which I just took. Now this website is loaded. Let's go back and have a look at how it looks like, okay, and experience it firsthand, okay? So guys, if you have created everything perfectly, okay, your website, like you can see, guys, it's hosted as of now on the local server, right? But it is like a website, if you can look into, right? So it's a personal fitness tracker website. It has been designed, right? In this web app, you can see it says web app, right? Will be, you'll be able to observe your predicted calories burnt in your body, pass your parameters such as these things and into the web app, and then you'll see the predicted value in kilocalories which is burnt. Okay, so all of these things, guys, let's have a look. And on the left hand side, you see this slider, right, guys? You'll see how easy it is to create all of these things, guys. You'll see it, but this slider can help you. I can, like, I'm changing the slider. I've said 53 years. Suppose I'm taking 53 years old, right? Maybe I'm taking BMI of maybe 24, a healthy person, maybe something in those lines, right? Maybe duration in minutes, like the person has done the exercise for maybe 25 or 30 minutes or whatever, right? Maybe 25 minutes or whatever, right? Then his heart rate, if I talk about, right, after that, like after what you've collected, right, maybe it says around 100. Okay, so because generally after you do exercise, heavy intensive exercise and stuff, you wind up having that, right? A body temperature, let's say maybe a little bit in terms of 39 maybe. Okay, so and maybe say female, if you talk about, right? Based on these parameters on the right hand side, you can see your parameters. It shows you here, right? So you have taken the age as 53, BMI as 24, duration as 25, I mean for 25 minutes, heart rate is 100, and body temperature as 39 degrees Celsius. And gender, it says gender male is 0, means it is false. That means it is female. Okay, so if it were true, that means male, right? So I hope you can understand. The moment I toggle this off, you will see the number 1 here. Okay, so I hope you can understand, right? And based on that, like it's still running. Okay, so it has not, I think, is it loaded up? It is still running. It seems, it says on top it's still running. Okay, so whatever model you have, like whatever you have created, right, it analyzes those, and you can see now it makes the prediction. It says 148.6 kilocalories have been burned by you as per the parameters which you have talked about, right? And one of the additional features which has been integrated to this web app, it shows you similar kind of results, like whoever is in that calorie range, right? You can see roughly around in that same calorie range, they are top 5 guys. What do you say? Are their calories are getting viewed up here, right? So their age, whatever age parameters has been taken, height, weight, duration, and all of those things, right? So hopefully, guys, it's understandable, guys. This web app has that particular nice feature to talk about. And we have also integrated it with some kind of general information. It says, you can see, as per the data set which has been taken at the backend, right? Imagine you are running, what do you say, a fitness center, right? And all of your people are, what do you say, registered, right? Then in that case, each of your unique entry which you have there, right? It says you are older than 70% of the people, right? So meaning only 30% of the people are, what do you say, I mean, younger than, what do you say, you, if I talk about, right? So your exercise duration is higher than 81% of the other people, meaning you are taking like more 81%, I mean, your duration, the time you're spending is 80%, almost 80% higher than the other people, right? You have a higher heart rate than 64% of the other people, right, during the exercise, right? So you can see, guys, that a general information which you can also understand about, right? So if you get the context here, right? So you'll be able to create all of these things. Okay, so this is how the deployment actually looks like. I mean, on the local server at least, right? So this is how it works out. Okay, so I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. This is the kind of outcome which we are looking forward to have, right? You can create your own interesting things. You can put up a nice, let's say, a logo and other things, right? You can enhance it. If you want to go ahead and, guys, do that, please feel free to do that, guys. Okay, so but the basic ideas, we are going to talk about it, right? And look into how to implement those. Okay, so, and guys, the field of programming, right, is I mean, a lot of experimentation and what do you say, obviously you're going to wind up with errors, struggles, and everything, but at the end of the day, you are going to enjoy the process if you are trying to create these small kind of apps which are pretty much part of the things. Okay, so hopefully, guys, it's understandable by everyone. We are going to look into it. So as to how to create this is a overall idea about this project, like if you talk about, right? So let's delve right into it, guys, and understand the key concepts, right? So, guys, let me quickly see if uh, you can use any editor, code editor, VS Code, Collab. You can do it anywhere you like. Okay, there is no such restriction. Okay, so yeah, I will be explaining you about the deployment. I'll show you the code as well. Okay, guys, and don't worry about it, right? How to go about. We are going to do step by step. Okay, so now, guys, let's quickly start off. Okay, so, guys, first and foremost, right, whenever we are talking about any of the projects, right, it is always advisable, right? It is always better to create things separately. Okay, so that's why, guys, let me tell you, guys, the best way to do programming, and guys, in all of these things, I'm assuming that you have a basic understanding of Python. Okay, where how to create things and stuff, right? What like, because, guys, I'm going to use few of the technical words here, so in order to understand the concept. Okay, the first thing, guys, as I talked about, right, is, let's say, by the way, guys, if I talk about it, right, I open the command prompt, right, window. If I talk about this, right, look at the, I hope like most of us have already seen this, right, the command prompt window, right? So, so, guys, it is always advisable to have a separate folder for your project. Okay, so just check out first whether Python is installed on your system, right? And if you write in the command window, let's say, I should be very careful with the spelling, right? So if you write Python and you press enter, right, and you see this, right, that for now you can see that Python version 3.12.8 has been installed on my system, right? So you will see some Python version if you talk about, right? So this actually opens up the Python what do you say, interpreter, right? So just to give you an idea about, right, you can see you can do calculations, you can use the print function, maybe print 43 or whatever, right? I hope you can understand, guys. It's acting just like your Python interpreter, right? So I can use exit to exit out of this, or come out of the Python what do you say, interpreter which I have used here, right? Now, guys, there are a few basic commands if I talk about, right? Those of us who might have used Windows, right? The graphic user interface of Windows, right? You can hear like it's very easy to go ahead and right click and create a new folder and everything, right? So it's always, guys, the idea is here to create a separate or set up a separate environment so that you don't go about, what do you say, disturbing what is currently there in your system, right? So if you talk about, right, so if I use so guys, when you download Python and everything, right, pip is, or the Python package manager gets installed by default. Okay, so and to check what all what do you say, what all packages or that have been currently installed, you can what do you say, type the command pip list, right? It is going to, if I run this, right, it shows me all the packages and modules which are currently installed on my system, which is having, you can see, right, there are a lot of different packages which are part of it already, right? So and in order to go ahead and, if you don't have it, like if you haven't down, I mean, if by mistake, if it is not there as downloaded, right, any of the package, right, you can use like pip install command, right, and the name of the package, like pip install, maybe numpy is one of the packages we're going to talk about it, guys. I'm just giving you a brief idea, right? And if things are already installed, let me show you guys how it looks like. Can you see it here? The moment I try to download it, it says requirement already satisfied, because if you look into my pip list, right, if I go into my I mean list, right, you already see numpy installed on the system already. Okay, same way, guys, if you look into pandas is already installed. So if I write pip install pandas now, it's going to have, what do you say, it's going to say that it's already installed, right? So you can just check, right, pip install pandas. So, but if you install it, I mean, from scratch, right? If you have just installed Python newly, right, and you use this, right, you are going to wind up looking into the context here, right? And guys, let me also show that, okay, there is the CLS command in command prompt, right, which clears the screen, right? So if you talk about right now, imagine this, guys. So I'm currently at C users Saomya, right? Guys, the graphic user interface is very easy to use, right? I can click on it, I can click to see users maybe, and I go to the folder called Saomya. And within this is the place where I am currently located at in the command prompt, right? How do I know that? If I use dir command, it shows me all the directories which are part of it, right? You can see contacts, documents, downloads, favorites, links, sample underscore file. You will see these files. Can you see here? There is a sample underscore file here, if you talk about, right? I hope it's particularly clear, right? So for all of us, right? Let's use that. Uh, okay, I think my did my system get hacked? Yeah, you can see, guys, right? So I'm using this, right? If you look into the concept here, right, there is the file already present, right? You saw downloads, documents, and everything, right? We are currently located at this location, right? When I use this dir command, right, which is showing me what are the directories. Dir stands for directory, right? So which are immediately part of C user Saomya, right? If I talk about, right? Now if I go into that, right, so suppose I want to go to the desktop, right? So generally in this user file itself, most of you will be having the folder called desktop, but it is, for me, it is not present here because most of my desktop related stuffs are getting uploaded into the OneDrive folder. So you can see under OneDrive I have desktop. Okay, so the same location, I'll say I can use a command called cd. That means change the directory to, I'm saying, OneDrive. Okay. And when I write OneDrive, you can see that now the directory has been changed to C user Saomya OneDrive, right? And let's see, let's press the dir command again. You will see that attachment, desktop, documents, personal vault, and everything, right? Whatever you see here is part of it, right? I hope you can understand, right? Now, if I want to go ahead and navigate to the desktop, I say cd desktop, right? Now I'm currently at my desktop, which is basically nothing that about but this place, right? If you talk about this particular main screen, that is desktop, right? Under this, guys, right, suppose the best way to do the project, I'll use cls, guys. Whatever you see on top, right, they will all be cleared if I use the cls command. Okay, so if I run this, you'll see everything cleared up. So all the clutter which you are seeing earlier will not be part of it and stuff. Okay, so guys, yeah, so whenever you create whenever you are creating a new project, right, it is always good to create your own, what you say, something called as a virtual environment, right? Virtual environment, like it's like a space, guys, a virtual space which is technically given, right? If I talk about in the context here, right, I'm not sure, let me go ahead and use this. I hope I'll be able to do that. Maybe, come on. Yeah, I think, yeah. So if I talk about, guys, right, if I say virtual environment, guys, I just want a confirmation. Are you able to see what I'm writing on the screen, guys? Can anybody confirm once? I am also using arrows. I have drawn 3 arrows. Are you able to see the 3 arrows? Can anybody confirm? Let me check the Q&A section. Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, guys. All right, it's visible. So perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, yeah, guys. So a virtual environment is a place, right? You can see the word environment right at the end, right? So it's a place where you can, whatever setup you have, right? Suppose you have created other projects, right? Then you want to go ahead and create your own environment, right? So it's like the universe is big, right? If you talk about, right, you create within this universe small pocket sized universe, like pocket universe 1, pocket universe 2, pocket universe 3, and so on and so forth. So these are nothing but each of the universe. So I mean, it's like having different pythons installed on the same system, right? So you have the stuff there, right? I can create pocket universe 1 using the stuff here, right? If I talk about, right, so, and the module which is actually used to create that virtual environment is called as venv. Okay, so we are going to use this module to create a virtual environment, right, a pocket universe within the particular stuff. Right now, this pocket universe will be containing Python, right, from scratch, right? I mean, if I go ahead and create, let me show you guys how it is basically created, because you saw, right, that I already have in my, if I write it directly here, right, if I write it on the system, right, where Python is already installed, right, you see that pandas, numpy, everything is already installed, right? What if I want to show you things from scratch, right? And that's why I'm going to take use of a virtual environment, right? So I'll say, the way to create it is, I'm going to say Python -m. This -m, by the way, stands for module, right? Python module. Name of the module is VENV, or virtual environment module. And I'm going to say, I'm going to create a module. A module is basically like, in this context, sorry, a virtual environment. I'll go ahead and use a name for it. Like, for example, demo virtual environment. Okay, I just write it and I press enter. The moment I do that, guys, let me show you what happens. Okay, let it first gets executed. Okay, so it is still running, right? If it is executed, guys, this entire same thing will come back again. Okay, so I'm just waiting for that to happen, just to show you the context here, right? So Uh, hmm, sorry. Now that you see that it has been executed, right? You can see that it's back to this stuff, right? Now, if I come back to desktop, guys, let me show you what happened here. Look at this, guys. There is a new folder which is being created called as demo underscore virtual environment, right? And let me go back. Let me go inside this, right? This contains everything, guys, the scripts, libraries, and what do you say, include it. It has been created from scratch, right? It does not contain inside that. It does not contain anything. Like, for example, guys, let me show you. If I say, now that I have created the virtual environment, I'm going to activate it, right? So let me first show you normally, right? You see, right? You saw my pip list earlier, right? If I use pip list and press enter, it is going to show me the complete list of things which are installed already in this particular stuff, right? But however, guys, right, let me first now activate the virtual environment and show you the pip list inside that. Okay, so in order to activate the virtual environment, guys, right, I have the name here, right? Demo virtual environment, right? So demo virtual environment slash scripts slash, because why am I writing slashes? Because inside demo virtual environment, guys, folder, you can see that there is a folder inside this folder called as scripts. Okay, this scripts folder contains a file called activate. Okay, so every environment which you do work on, okay, it can be activated by this. Okay, so within this, okay, when I go inside this, right, demo virtual environment slash scripts slash activate, and the moment I write that, guys, have a look at this, guys. Can you see the changes? What happened? Let me use CLS again. You see on the left hand side, you see the name of the virtual environment which you are currently part of. That is demo underscore virtual underscore environment, right? Which we have created, right? And inside this, it is a fresh install, guys. What I mean by fresh install is, let's see what happens if I write pip list and I press enter. Can you see, guys? It is only giving me the, what do you say, one thing which has been installed, that is pip, that is Python package manager, right? This is responsible for downloading, installing all the packages in Python. Okay, so all the packages, right? Now there is nothing here. Okay, I can install NumPy, pandas, anything, guys, from here. Okay, so I hope you can understand the context here, right? So I'll use I'll say maybe pip install, maybe let's say NumPy. Okay, if I write that, okay, now if I run this, okay, let's have a look. You can see, guys, the downloading will start now. Okay, installing, collecting packages, NumPy, and it will go forth and install the entire NumPy module for on your local system, right? So so the idea here is, guys, creating a virtual environment separately for your entire thing, right? Entire project, right? Because the idea is pretty simple, guys, that you want to go ahead and use that specifically for each and every project other than that, right? You can see, guys, successfully installed NumPy version 2.2.3. And let me show you pip list. Okay, you will see now you see NumPy is installed and pip is already, which was already installed. Pip is by default installed whenever you do any installation of Python, guys, because without pip you cannot download any other additional packages. Okay, pip is necessary for, as a matter of fact. Okay, so I hope you can understand the concept here, guys. Okay, but same way, guys, if I just open CMD, okay, let me just show a comparison side by side. Okay, so you see, guys, you see that I activated the virtual environment here, but there is no activation of the virtual environment, right? You can't see anything in front. Okay, it just shows me the stuff, right? So if I use pip list here, just like how you saw earlier, it is containing the complete list of packages. But if you look into it, guys, let me show you. Look at the NumPy version which is installed here. It is 1.26.4, whereas the NumPy version which we have installed for the what do you say separate virtual environment, it is 2.2.3. That is the latest version, right? I hope you can understand, guys. It's pretty easy to talk about, right? And you can install all the packages like pip install this, pip install that, pip install whatever relevant packages we are going to discuss in our project. You are going to use that, right? And I hope everyone understood how to activate it, right? So you use the activate command like to go ahead and activate the virtual environment, right? So you go into the scripts folder, whatever you have created, and go to activate, right? So it helps you to activate the virtual environment. Once you are done with it, you can write the command. Look at this, guys. I can write here deactivate, ACTIVAT. And the moment I use deactivate, you can see that it is gone, right? Can you see this? It is deactivated, right? Now, if I write pip list, again, it is going to show me the complete list, which you see it here. Okay. I hope it's particularly clear, guys. It's like a small universe inside the bigger one, but completely separate space, a personalized space for working with your project. Okay. So that was a first hand demo of what you say virtual environment technically is and what you talk about, right? And obviously, guys, I don't want to, and it's just a folder. In case you want to remove this universe or a virtual environment, right, all you have to do is click on this and use shift delete or maybe delete, and you can delete it right away. Got it, guys? So it's pretty easy to delete that as well. Got it? So that's how it is it actually works. Okay, so you can create it, you can delete it, do whatever. Because, and I don't want more number of virtual environments because I've already created, I was running the same when you saw my project getting run. Okay, so I will go to my AICTE folder. Okay, in this folder we have these, right? So that you can see the list of environments, right? I've created 3 different environments for 3 different projects. No conflict between the projects at all, right? Project 1 has a separate environment, project 2 has a separate one, project 3 has a separate one, right? So the current scope is projects 3, right? So if you talk about, right, so this is containing our project which we are dealing with, right? So I kept it completely separate. Okay, and now, guys, let me first of all what do you say activate the stuff. Okay, so let me open this. Guys, you can right click on the place where you want to open the terminal. You can right click on it and click on Windows 11 has this feature, guys. Okay, so you can click on open in terminal. Okay, so you can easily open that in that particular location at this. Okay, now, guys, obviously I'm going to because we're going to use this Jupyter notebook for our execution, right? We are going to probably talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to probably write up Jupyter dash notebook if I talk about. And by the way, actually, I forgot to turn on the virtual environment because I told you, right, I have already created the virtual environment, right? So let me not run Jupyter notebook here. Let me cross it. Okay. You saw that, guys, that I have, by the way, guys, the PS written here is the new Windows PowerShell. Okay, so don't get confused. This is the PowerShell exactly is the same as the command prompt. Okay, the only difference is both, aesthetically they are a little bit different to look at, right? So PS technically stands for the PowerShell, right? And but I hope you can understand. You can look into the command prompt as well, right? So same thing if you talk about, right? I could have opened this in the command prompt as well. Okay, and I can still open that. If you want me to do that, I can copy this location. So you remember, right? I used a command earlier called as cd or change the directory, right? I want to change the directory and take the directory as this C users Saomya OneDrive desktop AICTE. And now I am into that folder, right? You can see this folder actively selected, right? Once I am there, guys, I can do, now I don't need the PowerShell, by the way, right? I needed that location, right? Now that I hope everyone understands, if I write the dir command, it's going to show me whatever folders are present here, right? You see environment, project 1, project 2, project 3, right? I hope you can understand. I have these things, right? Inside my environments, I have created the environment. So I'll go about activating the environment which is inside this folder. So environments has three different folders here. These are nothing but three different environments: project 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so under this I'm going to project 3 because all the that particular universe is containing all the relevant files or libraries which are part of, which are needed. And within this environment in project 3, if I double click on scripts, there is, you can see, guys, all of you, I think, are able to see this, right? There is the activate script. Okay, so there is activate here, right? So I just want to activate this environment by going here, right? So I'll do this, like I'll probably use CLS, right? I'll inside AICTE, I can go to, there is there are different ways of activating it, guys. I can go inside this folder. So I'll say cd and I'll go environments, right? Okay, I'll go one by one, cd scripts, and sorry, not scripts, project 3. Okay, and then cd scripts. I can do like this. Okay, and I'm at scripts. Now there is the file called activate, right? Inside this, I'll just use activate here. Okay, the moment I do that, you can see that project 3 is activated, right? So that's how it works out, right? So I can, from here, I can go back, I can go back one step at a time. Like I can use cd dot dot to go back one step. So you can see earlier it was scripts, now it is at project 3. I'll use cd dot dot again. I am now at environments folder. Okay, I will still use cd dot dot again. And now I'm currently located in desktop AICTE folder, right? If you don't believe, I'll use the dir command. You can see now I'm located at place where my project 1, 2, and 3 are located, right? In this, I want to go and open project 3, right? I can use cd project 3. If I talk about project 3 files underscore files, right? I go inside that, right? And I talk about, like, I can go inside cd of what do you say? This is the name of the folder, right? Implementation of personal fitness tracker. If you guys don't believe it, let me show you. Go back here and I'll go back again. I'll double click on project 3 files. The name of the folder inside that is implementation of project fitness tracker. And within this, I have these files. Okay, so I want to go to this location, right? I'm currently located there. And I can probably use CLS to clear the clutter on the screen, which you see. Now I'm at the correct location. Maybe I'll use the dir command. You will see all of these files which are already part of it. app.py, calories.csv, exercise.csv, there is fitness underscore tracker.ipynb, right? So technically I'm going to work with this particular folder, this particular file, right? So I'm going to open this in Jupyter. I hope everyone knows that the .ipynb stands for, everyone, I hope is clear about it, that is interactive, py is Python, okay, and NB stands for notebook. Okay, so otherwise known as interactive Python notebook, which is the Jupyter notebook. Got it? So the Jupyter notebook file extension is .ipynb, right? So hopefully we all know about that and stuff, right? So let me go ahead and quickly open Jupyter notebook here so that we have a quick look at our project. So I have project 3 as the environment, and from there I'm opening the Jupyter notebook. Okay. All right, so once I open the Jupyter notebook, guys, okay, it should look something like this. I think you can all understand, guys, that I opened the Jupyter notebook at this particular place here. So you are able to see the folder structure, right? If I go back here, I hope everyone saw, right? This particular folder opened up, right? In localhost, if you talk about, right? So you have apps, calories, exercise, and fitness underscore tracker here, right? All of us can see that, right? So I'll open up the fitness underscore tracker dot ipynb file. Okay, this is the Python notebook file which contains the brief about the project. Okay, so let's see what all we can talk about. Okay, so guys, I can, what you can see, like I'll click on view and show the line numbers so that it is easy for you to relate. Okay, and hopefully, let me check once. We have, how many slide does the PPT contain? Uh, Template. Okay. So, no, Pankaj, it's not necessary to create your virtual environment, by the way, because of the fact, like, you can directly just download it. This is used for separating your projects. Okay, so I hope you can understand the concept here. Okay, so now let's have a look at a few things, guys. In the concept here, right? So number one, guys, right? So these are the few things which are pretty much necessary. Number one, guys, you can see that import, guys, the import statements, right, which are pretty much necessary for your importing the libraries and everything, right? So numpy as np, okay, so the numpy is used for all your what do you say, array related stuff. Okay, so it's able to I mean, handle multi-dimensional arrays very efficiently. Okay, so hopefully that's understandable. That's numpy, right? Import matplotlib pyplot as plt. You can see this statement here. Basically, matplotlib pyplot is the plotting, mathematical plotting library which is used across for plotting, guys. Okay, then you have Seaborn library, which is again used for enhanced visualization. This particular library is actually built on top of, guys, matplotlib. Okay, so I hope you can understand, right? NumPy, as I was talking about, it is basically for arrays. Okay, I mean, multi dimensional arrays, if I talk about, right? And then matplotlib, as I was talking about, it's the mathematical, right, plotting library, right? If I talk about, right, then you have the cpon library, which is built on top of matplotlib for the context here. Okay, then you have pandas, right? We saw, right, the pandas is actually used for data frame, guys, something called as data frame, right? So a data frame is like a table, guys, which you use for representing mostly two-dimensional data. Okay, so hopefully you are like a little bit into the context here, right? And guys, you have sklearn. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This is these are the I mean, this is a library which is I told you, right? Sklearn, or otherwise known as scikit learn library. This guy contains, what do you say, a lot of what do you say, stuff within that, like for example, selection of the model. So it's like a imagine that sklearn what do you say, is a folder, right? If you talk about, right, then just like how you have a tree like a structure, right, you can say that there are subfolders like model selection, right? And there is a folder maybe called as metrics, There is a folder called as pre-processing, right? And maybe there is a folder called as what you say, linear model, right? So all of these things are particularly, like, you can think of it as a folder like structure, right? And each of them contains specific things, right? So if you have model selection, you can see, right, there is the train test split. This is going to, this guy here is helps us into what do you say, split your data into a training set and a testing set, right? I hope everyone understands the significance of having these training and testing, because you can't run you should not, okay, create your model with the entire complete data, okay, because if you do that, you might end up getting 100% of the accuracy, but that's not an ideal condition, because your model might tend to get overfitting. Overfitting simply is a condition when you talk about in terms of, let's say, when you more than necessary, you want to go ahead and fit the data, or maybe take the data and fit it forward for doing any kind of an analysis, right? So that's what is what is the condition which you should go ahead and avoid, and that's why you go about splitting it into training and testing data separately, right? So some portion, like maybe you can use 80% of your data for training, 20% data for your testing, right? So that way it has an understanding of, okay, I need to go ahead and like maybe take these into consideration, right? A grid search CV is to find relevant hyperparameters, guys. Okay, so hyperparameters are nothing but what do you say, parameters which you can mold, or maybe numbers. They are like tunable knobs, guys. Okay, so you can use them like it's like a volume button, right? So you want to go ahead and like whether you want to go ahead and keep the volume as 10 or 12 depending on the crowd which you have at home, right? Same way you have these tunable knobs which the grid search CV helps you to tune that and find the best possible solution for it. Okay, so that's what you are talking about, right? And then, guys, sklearn.metrics contains the mean squared error, one of the metrics used for judging the performance of your model. Okay, then there's standard scalar. If you talk about, you can look into it, right? So it says this here, guys, you can see the normal word here, right? It comes from the basic word scale, right? The word scale means, like, if you talk about, right, using this, you can go about putting all your data into a particular relative scale, right? So maybe if I talk about, let's say, what do you say, heights, right? If I have a data for or in this context, if I talk about, right, maybe some quantities are in maybe grams, if you talk about, right? Some quantities, if you talk about, like, they all follow different kinds of convention in the context here, right? So different kind of scales, right? So you want to put them in a relatively a known scale to each other, right? So that it is easily able to compare. Okay, so that's why you use a standard scalar, right? Then there is linear model, right? Under that, from which we are going to take linear regression, right? If I talk about, right, so we are taking the linear regression from those models, right? So that's how one of the key machine learning models which are technically used, right? Then guys, import metrics from sklearn, right? So again, it is used for measurement stuff, right? You want to know the performance of your model, you use the metrics, right? Then, guys, the plotly, import plotly.express as px, right? So plotly is another visualization library which is highly advanced compared to all the other, right? The plotly the plots of plotly, right, they are really good to interact with. Okay, you'll be able to easily interact with the plots, right? You can click them once the plot is created, but the plots which are created by matplotlib and seaborn, they are not what do you say, interactive in the feature. I'll show you guys how this particular library is way more advanced than the others, right? If I talk about, right, So next, talking about, guys, if I look into, right, the PD or pandas has a function called read underscore CSV, right? Since, by the way, guys, if you look into the file here, right? So I hope pay careful attention here, right? There are two data sets, right? One is the calories data set and one is the exercise data set, right? If you look into, right, and you can see if I double click on the type of the file, right, you can see it says Microsoft Excel comma separated values file, right? So CSV file, it is a basically technically these are CSV files. Okay, so if I double click and let's have a look at content of the file once, guys. Okay, you know, the best way to do data analysis is to first get a idea about what the content is and what you based on that make an assumption. Okay, so it contains user ID, right? The users of whoever the users are, right? And the calories they have burnt. Okay, so if you talk about, right, each user ID followed by the calories, user ID followed by the calories and stuff, right? So a lot of data is particularly part of this. Okay, and by the way, guys, you will get these sample data available and stuff on your what do you say, I mean, when you do the projects and stuff, right? So you can use this data, or guys, as I said, guys, it's an internship. So make it a habit of, what do you say, finding the data from the different online sources, which I have talked about, right? You'll find it there as well, right? So there is one file which is containing calories and the other file which is containing these details like user ID again. Then there is gender, there is the age column, there is height, weight, duration, heart rate, and body temperature and stuff, right? I hope you can understand, right? So these are the different parameters which are getting used, right? So if you talk about, right? So hopefully we are going to do a elaborate analysis on this file and the other file. Okay, so we are going to have a look at that. Okay, so let me quickly go to the QA. All right, guys, let's because guys, the session started a bit late, right? I'll probably take 2 to 3 more minutes and then we can wrap it up for today. Okay, so I'll just introduce you a little bit about the things and then so guys, the pandas has a function called read underscore CSV. Okay, so it helps you to read a CSV or comma separated value file, right? You can see calories and exercise, right? Once you load that, right, you get the what do you say, a general overview of the data set can be seen, right? There is a function within that called as head, right, where you talk about calories dot head. It shows the first five records of the particular file. Okay, so same way, guys, if you want to see the first five of the exercise table, right, then you use exercise.head, right? You can see the first five entries, right? So I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone, guys. Okay, and guys, obviously I can use the exercise because you see, right, exercise data frame df is the usual convention of showing how a data frame actually looks like, right? Dot shape, right? I hope you can understand the context here. And let's talk, like let's run that and have a look. Maybe I'll do one thing here, guys, that let's maybe can we get the template? uh Okay, so guys, let's do one thing. Let me stop for now in the context here and take a few of the questions, right? There are a few questions which needs to be addressed by like who have asked about, right? And guys, like the entire project stuff will be covering in our next session, right? But let me go back on the stuff where we have the Q&A section here. Okay, there are a few questions here. Let me maybe start off from the end. When is the last date for project submission? Actually, like as I said, like it's a 30-day stuff if you talk about, right? So you have complete 1 month to talk about the same. Okay. So after 4 weeks, basically, right? And we use different parameters. Yes, you can definitely use different parameters. Why not, right? So you want to do the I mean stuff in the context that, like, whatever you might have chosen, like in the context of any kind of a grid search, maybe, which you have taken, right? So can we get the project report template document? Yes, you will be getting internship certificate, those data sets. Yeah, those things, all of the things will be shared with you, by the way. Can we use VS Code instead of Jupyter Notebook? Yes, you can. Okay. And um, so the for PPD and yeah, so can we get the data set? Yes, you will be getting all of those things. Okay. So, so guys, those who are asking for repetition, guys, don't worry about it. All of these things are recorded. There will be the recording session. Please have a look at that. Okay. So, all right. So mark attendance, guys, for recording of the session, access or the uh I am meeting Maggie alone. So I'm under project AI powered resume tracker. I don't have session recording and study material for guys, as I said, the study material and everything will be, I think sir will be letting you know about that. Okay. So tomorrow, I think day after tomorrow is the Ask Me Anything session, right? Where you can, like, sir will also be joining there. Okay. So uh, need to perform all these steps. Yeah, you can do simply directly as well. Okay. That's particularly okay. And hopefully, yeah, yeah, obviously any version of Python is okay, guys. All right. So guys, so far, like, there's a few things which we wanted wanted to look into the context, right? So guys, let's join up next time, and thanks for all of you to tune in, guys, and have a good day. So I'm stopping the recording here.